Guys, welcome to Chișinău. It's a really beautiful developed city. I show you now the outskirts of this typical Eastern European metropolis. It's actually a very nice and beautiful city, and it's booming. The DCFTA has already worked very well. That's the contract with the EU, because the last year since I'm here, from 2018 to 22, now 4 years, it really is transforming. It's booming, and it shows it's a very good contribution to the European continent, to the European project. Hey, Mr. Macron, it's not just a family, it's not the community, but the European Union. A EU of 37 by 2029 is absolutely feasible. Moldova can be part of that, and it's a country like Kosovo, for example, and like Austria. I compare it always with this country, like Belgium. It has a mixed identity, like Belgium, like Macedonia, some parts of Austria, I would say, in some ways, Kosovo as well. And it is, of course, a wonderful place, and I really like it. But I want to explain it in this comparison because, of course, you know, people are here mostly Romanians. Yeah? Many people, everybody speaks Russian and Romanian. Yeah? So it's a country that has this kind of mixed culture. They have the problem of Transnistria. They also have Gagauzia, where I will go now. And this has to be understood. Yeah? It is a complicated place, as we have many. The French are also complicated. Belgium is the classical complicated case in Europe. Yeah? So what we need is to have understanding for complicated places like Macedonia, like Belgium, like Austria. And it's a very good comparison, Austria to Germany, Kosovo to Albania, and of course here Moldova to Romania. Because in history it was contended between Russia and Romania always. It was swapping times and regimes, I think 10 times in the last 200 years since 1812. That was the French invasion of Russia, and then they lost, and then in 1812, of course, Moldova became Russia, and since then it has shifted several times in the Crimean War, in the Great Eastern Crisis, in the First World War, in the Second World War, then again in 91 when the Soviet Union fell, and of course in 44 when the German Wehrmacht was defeated here very brutally, and of course deservedly, because why? But this was the battlefield, yeah? Why they were here? They shouldn't be here. This is the land of the Moldovians. Yeah? They have the right for their own country. They shouldn't unify with Romania. They shouldn't unify with Ukraine. They shouldn't unify with Russia. They have the right to their own country, the same like Austria has it, like Kosovo has it, like Belgium has it, like Macedonia has it. And you can always say because they are similar to somebody and some part of the population is similar to Romania, to Albania, to Germany, then some kind of nationalists always talk about unification. But it's wrong. The historical facts are it was always different most of the time to Romania. It has now a very distinct identity, and of course it's one nation in a way, like similar like the Albanians are. And we have decided differently in Austria and Germany, I know that very well, but our language is definitely the same, like the German language, so let's not get too excited on that point. So we are now at the outskirts, and I'm heading now to Komrat. That's exactly one of these two regions which is contended. Obviously they are all in Moldova, to make it very clear, and the territorial integrity is the clear aim. But there are two regions, they have different levels of degrees and compliance towards the Moldovan Republic. Gagauzia is all in, and it's autonomous. They have their own regional authority. And then, of course, Transnistria is quite distant, and they have also a claim to independence. But obviously they are also part of the DCFTA agreement. In a way, they are also part of the internal market. They are now very much blocked to Ukraine because there was the threat of this military escalation to involve them, and the Russians certainly wanted that. But the Transnistrians didn't want to be bombed and bombarded and being part of this kind of war game of Putin, and so they decided no. But for example, to Gagauzia it's very easy and simple to go. For Transnistria, I decided not to go because I'm a careful guy, I'm not a hero, and so I didn't do the choice of Transnistria. That's for tougher guys than me. But I will fly back to Austria tomorrow, so that's my plan. But I draw the attention, what we need, of course, is not this bad word, Federalisation, but we need a European federal state of the Federal European Union, where Federal Moldova is part, and then we need power to the regions. Power to the regions means that we have, of course, regional autonomy, regional self-governments, a governor like they have in Gagauzia, a regional assembly like they have in Gagauzia, and then there's all 7 regions of Moldova, 6 or 7 regions, I have to take a look. They should have exactly this system, like we have it in Upper Austria, like we have it in Steiermark. And that's the way to do these things, and that's the way Europe is built. A European Gagauzia, European Upper Austria. It's very, very simple, very, very clear, and very, very logical. And so we are in that kind of logic, which I think is really very logically, and it's very, very good. You see, the land here is beautiful. You see that they have police on the streets, they have petrol stations. The highway is not really the European style of highway, but at least they have some 4 lanes. There's no internal kind of separation, but they have very good wine land here. Yesterday, that's why my voice is a bit tired, because I was yesterday at this Mimi wine bar. That was very good, and they have a lot of inherited Soviet style agriculture facilities, which need, of course, massive renovation. They need, of course, also, here's the road to Cahul, that's the border town, to Romania, and unfortunately even the Romanian infrastructure is not so good, because unfortunately we have not built the highway system in Romania as we should. And now, of course, in Gagauzia and on the road to Gagauzia here for Moldova, there is a lack of highways. Here that's good, actually, that's quite good. But when you see the amazing progress in Albania, Kosovo, Macedonia, and in Serbia, then of course this is a bit disappointing, but okay, at least there is something. Here I show you the agricultural possibility of Moldova in the wine area and in all other areas, and also for solar energy it's of course very good. Here you have a lot of sun, you have a lot of water, you have a lot of opportunities here, and it will be very, very good contribution to the European internal market. That's fantastic. I'm looking very much forward to it, and that's of course what we all should, And it's good people here, a good country. It will be like Austria, and maybe Austria is a good role model for Moldova, and I think yes, we should maybe conclude a strategic partnership. But as the Prime Minister yesterday was very clear that Austria is not supporting Moldova's EU accession, so shameful. Schallenberg, the rejectionist voice of Austrian rich elite, who is neglecting other people to come to the European Union. I feel very embarrassed by this, and I hope that he will not be continued as the foreign minister, because we don't need a foreign minister who is rejecting other Europeans to join the European Union. We definitely don't need that. Good, you see, it looks quite similar to Albania, to Kosovo. When you see my videos, when we leave, of course, there's a lake, a beautiful look. Very good. This is very nice. I like it. This is maybe, it seems a lake or a river. Don't know exactly, it looks like a river here. And I will also try to find out more about the economic and about the energy potential. What are the really big things to be done? That's a lake, I guess, Yeah, beautiful. I showed you many of the beautiful houses, and much of the development is already very good. And I will keep you posted here to also show you the country between the Prut River and the Dniester, and of course Transdniester. Let's never forget that Transnistria is the part on the other side, on the eastern side, on the Ukrainian side of the Dniester, which was in these wild changes of borders under the Stalin times, taking parts of southern Moldova into Ukraine, parts of northern Moldova into Ukraine, then parts of Ukraine into Moldova. Obviously, this was a complete chaos what they left over. But that's the way it is, and that's the way it will stay. Good. We are on the way south, towards Komrat, and I'm looking forward. You see, it's green here, lush, beautiful. Of course, a lot of development opportunities, especially in the agro-food business. That's of course the logical sector here, and that's what most of the sector is actually about here. The bigger opportunities are in wine, in any other agricultural business, and they are very beautiful. And here you see much of it still needs to be done, needs to be invested. And I hope that the European business community will also take responsibility for European Moldova. But it would be good to have the euro, to have EU perspective with IPA funding, to have Moldova in the EU customs union, as I say all over again. And of course a firm perspective of EU membership with a clear date for 2029. And of course NATO membership, to have the external security guaranteed and secured by NATO. Today we had the Finnish joining, making the decision. That's world historic, and that's of course also, I hope that Austria will do that. I've written an article about it, and I hope that also Moldova will have the courage to join NATO. And you see a lot of this agricultural product. This is the company selling that. Still, it's at the beginning of development, and there needs to be much more investment and much more development, and it will come. Moldova has a great future ahead, and I'm confident that also the Europeans, or from the rejectionist side of Macron and Schallenberg, will help on that one. So far so good. You see, that's the countryside here, and I will keep you posted on my road from Chișinău to Komrat, this beautiful 12th of May 2022. Thanks a lot. Bye.